Welcome to a Galaxy Man Show interview show. So for my very next guest of this week is this incredible actor known by the name of Brandon Kappen. So I'm about to add Brandon into the live now to have a chat with Brandon about his incredible work as an actor. So yeah, let's add Brandon in and have a chat with Brandon. Hey, Brandon, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I just want to
Good.
say first up, thank you so much, Brandon, for taking the time to come onto my show. It's such a pleasure and honor to have you on today. So people that don't know who you are, if you can give like a bit of backstory first, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
I originally am from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've been in the theater since I was like 6. So I continued doing theater through high school and everything, and then I had an audition for Disney Channel, and it was for a reoccurring role. And at the time, I ended up booking it out of 3,000 kids. And at that time, I wasn't able to make the move to Los Angeles. So ended up not going through with it, but everything else happened very nicely, which, I'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into acting. Yeah.
So we'll dive right into the questions now. So for my very first question,
Mhm.
so in 2019, you were actually in a series called Steam Room Stories. What was like that whole experience like for you getting to be in this?
So Steam Room Stories was like one of those things where I was, as an actor, there's always times where, you might have periods of time where you don't book work or that nothing's just coming up. And so my buddy had messaged me and was like, "Hey man, there's a TV series that's shooting. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, maybe it wasn't really up like my path. So I was like, I don't know, maybe. So I ended up meeting with the director and the writer, and I went in for the audition, and I just went in, and I used like a Scottish accent, and I forget what I said, but I said something that got their attention, and it was something different that they hadn't seen all day, and that's ended up with booking me the series.
So what did you learn from the experience like while being in the series for Steam Room Stories?
Um, and it was nothing against the directors or writers. It's just that I learned that that's not really the avid, like that's not really I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed like other things. You know what I mean?
So on some very next question, so you were actually in a film back in 2018 called
Yeah.
Tiger. You actually played
Yes.
a soccer player. What was it like getting to be in this film, and like what was like that whole experience like for you?
So actually, I ended up booking that back to back with another film that I did, and Tiger. So it's funny. Tiger actually never came out. We were shooting in my hometown in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I had got the call like, "Hey, you're booked. Can you show up?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I was fighting the main character. Like we get into a fistball brawl and everything like that. So I was like, "Well, this is cool. I get to play like the villain, if you want to call it that." And so I show up to set. We're doing like I don't know. It was like a 12-hour day, and we shot for 4 hours, and then we were on the soccer field for like 6 hours. And I have asthma, so I was like huffing and puffing, and we were actually like playing soccer because the director was like, I want this to be be as real as possible. So we were playing soccer. We get into the fight, and we do a couple of the fight scenes, but in one of the fight scenes, he was supposed to go one way, I was supposed to go the other, and he ended up going the same. So I actually connected with him and hit him. So after that, we were like, all right, let's take a moment, and then let's come back to it. So we ended up going back to it, but Mickey Rourke was cool, interesting guy to work with. Lucy Hale, she was a part of the project as well. So it was all around a pretty fun project. It's just unfortunate that sometimes we make movies and sometimes when we make shows that they don't see the light of day. You know what I mean?
What kind of like with being an actor, what are you trying to inspire from being an actor? Like
Um,
what do you represent?
so to be honest, man, like the reason I got into TV and film was like when you go to the movie theaters, right? And you get done from work and you're just having a bad day and you go to the movie theaters and you can escape real life and engulf yourself into the film. And the way I was leaving the movie theater is how I want to make other people feel when they go to the theater, to kind of like escape real life and to just engulf yourself in the magical world of film and connecting with these characters in different ways that resonate with you in your individual life. And just you're leaving the theater happy. You know, you're leaving inspired. You see a movie and you're like, oh, I want this car, or I want this, or I want to do this. Like, and that's in a sense what I want to do, because you're only on this, planet one time. So live it to the fullest.
Well, if you could play any character, like in any series or
Mhm.
franchise, what character would you want to play and why?
Man, I was big fan of so Fast and the Furious growing up was like my thing. Like I'm a huge car guy. If you can go through my Instagram, you'll see. So I've had like 20 cars and just customizing, building, and I used to race cars in Ohio. Um, Fast and the Furious would be the best role I could ever even think of for a movie. TV series wise, I have a few. I was big into Vampire Diaries, so like that kind of like teenage, edgy, sort of like mysterious person. But then like I just binge watched Outer Banks, and Outer Banks was a fantastic series, and I would love to play a role like that. It's, ironically, I have the hat from the show, so
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, that was a very good series, very good series.
I actually loved how you mentioned the Vampire Diaries. I could actually see you a part of the Legacies universe.
Yeah.
Hey, amazing in that. And I actually had a really good mate who actually appeared in the Legacies.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, known by the name of Charles Terrio. Such an incredible actor. Um, Shout out to Charles. But yeah, he was in the Legacies and he starred as the character Chad in
Oh, that's
Legacies.
cool. I'll have to
So,
check that out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So on to our very next question for you.
Yeah.
So who would be like your inspirational like actor wise? Like who do you look up to?
Um, I mean, I'm not going to give you the typical Brad Pitt or anything like that, because I feel like that they're legendary. But I would say, that's a good one, man. Like honestly, recently, just because we have similar stories, I've kind of been following Chase Stokes' story. He's like, we have a lot of the similar story, as far as like building up to becoming an actor, and couch surfing for years on end until you get that role. Um, I would say, man, that's a tough one. Chase Stokes for sure, but I would also say Timothy Chalamet, because Timothy has a work ethic like no like his work ethic's just incredible. Like he went over to France and he studied and to learn French and to engulf the film industry over in France and learn how it's different. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges as an actor is learning different countries, the way they portray acting. Like I'm a real big fan of British actors and stuff like that, because the work ethic's just different.
Well, I actually, because you said you love British kind of style acting, I actually could see you in a series. Love Doctor Who. I
Yeah,
actually could see you in Doctor Who.
really.
Yeah.
I've never seen Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Oh, that surprises me because, like, I actually could see you as the Doctor.
Oh,
Surprise!
really?
Yeah, you would be like a really cool because the Doctor. Some of them have like the 10th and the 11th were always like I want to be a ginger Doctor,
Yeah.
and I could see you as like the very first ginger Doctor because they actually were going to cast Reuben Green as
Yeah.
the Doctor, but unfortunately he couldn't do it. So I
Mhm.
reckon like you would be such an incredible Doctor if they picked you. And yeah, I could see you in Doctor Who
It's
completely.
it's it's crazy, man. So when my hair, I used it to have like shaggy hair until I started like styling it different, and it was swoopy, and I would get Rupert Grint all the time. Rupert Grint or Ed Sheeran, the more attractive version of Ed Sheeran, and I'm like, I don't know, that's a compliment, but all right. But
Well,
it's funny. I actually I dyed my hair not too long ago, dark brown, because I was like, you know what? If you really think about it, how many leading redheads are there in the industry? And there's not a lot. It's mostly the women. So I was like, let me change some stuff. So I got highlights, put a little more blonde in my hair to try to give me that versatility of more of like a dirty blonde type. So that's kind of like what I was rocking with.
I love it. So on to our very next question. So what have you learned about yourself as a person, especially as an actor, like during COVID?
During COVID, uh, how not to get COVID. But I would say I've learned patience, and I actually started writing my own content. So like in the near future, I am going to be, doing my own short films and producing some material. Because that is an avenue that I want to get into, because I did learn, about behind the camera, and learning about like camera angles and all that, because I feel like that's important as an actor to learn, because it makes you a better actor in front of the camera. So I will be producing some material coming up very soon, and I'm working on a project now as well.
So on to our very next question. So what are like the positive and negatives into the whole acting or directing industry, and how do you get through those like negative moments as an actor or director?
Um, so coming from a small town, well, so coming from like Ohio, where everybody's very humble, everybody knows each other. Coming to LA, you quickly realize, wow, there's like thousands or millions of people trying to do the same thing you're doing. Um, and, and really, it just comes with confidence. So like I mean, I'll be straight up. I didn't really have confidence when I first moved here. I was going through a lot, and I had to find myself. I had to reinvent myself in a way, because the lifestyle here is so much different than anywhere else in the world. And you got to go through like some really big hardships in order to find yourself. So I mean, I was couch surfing for 2.5 years, like in all different parts of LA. And, you quickly find where you want to be and who you want to be. And sometimes you really got to go through some rough stuff. And I have, which kind of helps you with your acting. But I would say that the trickiest part is to, I know people that, came out here for 2 years and like, well, if I don't book it, I'm going back home. And I was like, that's not really the right, attitude to have. Because everything's timing, it's all about, networking and who know, like, I hate to say it, but it's a lot of it is, when preparation meets luck and opportunity, being at the right place at the right time. I can't tell you how many times I've, been out and I just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and I meet somebody, and then all of a sudden it leads into a job, or it leads into an opportunity. So I would say to, I don't know, just surround yourself with like humble people, because like I know some celebrities and I know YouTubers and I know social media people. So I know people from all walks of life. And if you're surrounded by people with big egos, or it's very easy to get caught into the party scene, and just going to parties and thinking you're above everybody else. And that's not what our industry is about. Our industry is about telling stories, and in the end of the day, everybody's got, a different view on why they're doing what they're doing. And I tell people, if you're in it for the money, hang it up, because that's, I mean, I do. When I first started, I was doing, free work. I was driving 2 hours, 3 hours to do projects, just to get some type of, film and to show people. Which thankfully I had an agent flew to, like, how I came to LA. I was flying an acting coach from LA to Ohio every month. Shout out David Gray Studios LA. I was flying him to Ohio every month to see me, and we would work on scenes for 2 days. And then he ended up flying an agent with him, and she ended up signing me, and then said, hey, can you be in LA in a month? So I sold all my stuff in Ohio, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it. Let's do it. So I moved, and I didn't know anybody here, anybody. So I would say, to get you through those hard times, just honestly, in an acting class, like find an acting class, because you'll find friends in that class that are on the same level as you, or that want to help you succeed. And I would say it's important to not take it so seriously. Like, I learned, when you stop taking it so seriously and you actually just like live life, then that's when it comes. Like, if you try too hard, it comes off. Like, people know that you're trying too hard. And I noticed that, when I first moved here, I hadn't really gone through like a bunch of hardships, but the more hardships I go through, it leads me to be a better actor, because there's things I can pull from, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I started living my life is when it actually started happening more.
So I'll say very last question. So what's like next for you, like goal wise? Any projects coming up that you like to announce?
Yeah. So I'm working with this really great writer and director. They we're working on it's a car series. So we're it's a in a sense it's a short film, but I play a car guy, which is amazing because ironically I'm a car guy myself. So I was like, that's perfect. And I really liked the writers, the way he wrote everything, and the character development aspect. They told me if it does well, then we possibly may have a series, in a higher up series. So we'll be praying for that. And no, that's what I'm working on right now, and then I have a few short films, and I'm looking for new representation. So I really want to get a manager that I really vibe with, and that I can see us growing together in the industry because I'm extremely loyal to the people that are part of my team. So I'm really looking for just team, a really good team right now. But the short films first, we're shooting that in about 3 weeks, and then that'll be really fun. I'm excited for that because I get to mess with cars, and then yeah, representation is probably next.
Well, to end this off, what would be your like top favorite car?
Top favorite car? Oof. Um, Nissan Skyline R34.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
Paul Walker set that up in Fast and the Furious. So yeah, I would definitely say the R34 Skyline. I right now I have a 75 Porsche 914 that I was like kind of redoing with my girlfriend's dad over COVID, and I realized very quickly I'm like I think I need a Japanese car again so I can get reliably to and from my meetings and stuff like that. So I'm actually looking for another car right now.
Legend. I love it. I love it. Well, can I just say thank you so much again, Brandon. It's
Yeah,
been such a pleasure having you on today. To everyone, definitely go support Brandon. Go support his incredible work and incredible projects that he's been in. So definitely go support Brandon. Give him the
thank you
love.
very much.
Do you have like any last final thoughts that you'd like to give to people on the show?
Honestly, any of you guys out there going for acting or wanting to be like a part of the industry, just patience, man. Patience. And it can get lonely sometimes, and you may go, you may book something and not book something for, a year to 2 years. I mean, it's like God's timing, man. God, it's not if you try to force it, it more than likely when you try to force it, it won't happen because you're giving off that energy. So I would say just be patient with yourself, trust yourself, love yourself. That's all I can really say.